समझ नहीं आ रहा अपने सैलरी इंक्रीमेंट का क्या करूं।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स के एसआईपी का टॉप अप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
क्या समझ में नहीं आया?
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स का एसआईपी टॉपअप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
अब समझा।
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
When we talk of new projects, the term we often hear about is dry run. What we are talking about today is the opposite, which is wet commissioning, although it amounts to the same thing. It amounts to trying a machinery or project for the first time to see how it works. This wet commissioning, literally wet commissioning, because the definition is a machinery or a project that includes fluid. So when you try it for the first time, this wet commissioning pertains to a dam. One of the 8 units of a dam in Arunachal Pradesh. In fact, on the Arunachal Pradesh-Assam border, the Lower Subansiri Project. Please see the map. This is the Brahmaputra system. Subansiri River is one of its tributaries. This dam is not far from what might be called North Lakhimpur area in Assam. North Lakhimpur is like the easternmost part of Assam on the north bank of the Brahmaputra. In fact, it has the airport of Lilabari. So in old days when I used to be traveling in the northeast and these bridges over the Brahmaputra were not built, the solitary bridge was at Guwahati. Indian Airlines used to run a flight which took you from Guwahati to Tezpur, Tezpur to Jorhat, Jorhat to Lilabari, which was North Lakhimpur, back to Dibrugarh, and then similarly back the same way. It was like a bus because you simply had to cross the river. Now there are multiple bridges, so that is not needed. I'm just trying to locate the geography of this dam. This is the tributary of the Brahmaputra at the lower end of which, where it enters Assam, this dam has been located. This dam, the first of the 8 units, this is a hydropower dam. This will make electricity, 250 megawatts per unit. So first unit is now being wet trialed or wet commissioned. That clearance has been given. That's happening. Once this runs successfully, this clearance comes from National Dam Safety Authority, NDSA. Once this runs successfully, then the second unit will be commissioned by the end of November. By the end of December, 4 units will be commissioned, which means 1000 megawatts of clean hydroelectric power will come in the grid. In fact, even in the wet commissioning, this will be reconciled with the grid to see if it works or not. That done, by the middle of next year, before the monsoon, say by end April, May, the remaining 4 units of the 8 unit plant will be also commissioned, which means 8 into 250, 2000 megawatts. So this one hydroelectric dam will be producing 2000 megawatts. 2000 megawatts will make this the largest, think again, the largest hydroelectric dam in India. So when I say large hydroelectric dams, what do you think about? You think about Narmada, larger than that. You think about Teri, right? If you Google it, it will show you as 2400 Teri, but that is not the full picture. The full picture is that the basic Teri dam, the main Teri dam, is 1000 megawatts. That is 4 units of 250 megawatts each, just as Subansiri has 8 units of 250 megawatts each. Then Teri has another one, Koteshwar dam system, which is 4 into 100 megawatts. That is 400 megawatts. And then Teri pumped storage. That is another set of generators of 4 into 250 megawatts. That's 1000 megawatts. That's 1400 like that. This is the only plant with 2000 megawatt capacity in one place. In fact, this will remain India's largest hydroelectric power project for quite some time, until the Dibang hydroelectric project. See Dibang river also on your map, that's also in Arunachal. Until that comes on stream, hopefully on schedule in 2031-32. That will be 2,880 megawatts. So finally, after so many decades of planning, I've heard about these plans for at least 40 years now, 45 years since I used to be in the Northeast. And people have written about these and also conjured these up in their imagination over many decades before that, over generations, that these fast-flowing rivers that come down the Himalayas into the Brahmaputra, their potential could be harnessed for electricity. These are run-of-the-river dams because nobody needs to store water there for irrigation. The population isn't there, the geography isn't there, the land isn't there, and the need isn't there. But you need this water for electricity. You can generate clean electricity. There was a lot of resistance, and as I go along, I will tell you how difficult it's been to build this one project. That said, one more project has come up in the last couple of years on one of the Arunachal rivers, that is the Kameng River. Kameng River is more on the western side. Please see on the map. Kameng River comes along the areas which are more familiar to us and which are more imprinted on our memories. That is Tawang, Sela, Bomdila, Dirangzong, areas like that. That is what's now West Kameng district bordering Bhutan, East Kameng district, and Tawang right up north. So that river has already been harnessed and a 600 megawatt plant was commissioned there in 2022. The fact is, credit where it's due, that for a long time these projects had been planned, detailed project reports were done, some bit of work had started, but because of various kinds of problems, particularly activism and opposition, these were all held up. In fact, on many of these projects, including Subansiri, work had started in 2008. Under UPA 1, and then it stopped later. In case of Lower Subansiri, which is now being commissioned, work had stopped fully in December of 2011. Later, many committees were set up. Those committees gave their reports. Committees asked for improvements, changes. National Green Tribunal set up a supervisory committee. It was after all of that and many changes that the dam has been built, but the dam has been built all right. Similarly, 2022, the Kameng project was built. And what happens when projects get delayed? The cost goes up. Lower Subansiri, or Subansiri Lower as it's called, project was planned in 2002 with a budget of 6,285 crores. Then it has now come to 26,075 crores, and I suspect by the time it's fully completed, it will go up further. What will now happen once the second unit also goes through its wet commissioning? Then Anil Jain, the head of NDSA, has told Maushami Dasgupta, our editor, who's done a story on this project today, I'm sharing the story with you, see it on your screen also, that once this is done, then NDSA will give clearance to the first 4 plants, and the project builder, which is National Hydropower Corporation, NHPC, all credit to them. They've done a wonderful job. In fact, it's for projects like these that you say, even someone like me who wants everything privatized, right? Even someone like me would say that there are areas where you need the public sector, because these are areas in which the private sector cannot always deliver, because to work that closely with the government is not possible for the private sector, and also the kind of risk, commercial risk this involves, the sovereign can take, the government can take, or when the sovereign is your majority shareholder, they can take. It's tough for a private builder to take these risks. We spoke about the other day on the Midog hydropower project that the Chinese are building on the other side of the Himalayas, on the other side of the massif, that is in the river that they call Yarlung Tsangpo, which becomes Siang River in India, and Brahmaputra. It is one of the biggest tributaries of Brahmaputra. There they are building the world's largest hydroelectric dam of 60,000 megawatts. This July 19, the Chinese Premier Li Qiang, he started the project formally, construction started. For that, the Chinese also have set up a state-owned enterprise, or PSU as we call them in India, called China Yajiang Group. That project will cost them $168 billion, and it will produce, hold your breath, 60,000 megawatts. Similarly, India is planning a dam on their side of the massif. Brahmaputra goes and makes this very sharp bend and falls almost 2 kilometers over a short distance. That gives you tremendous electricity generating potential which the Chinese are using. We featured this in a full episode of Cut the Clutter, of which we will share a link with you. Please check it out. When that river comes into India, India plans to build a dam there on the Siang River. The idea of that dam would be, one, to produce a lot of power, more than 11,000 megawatts, in this case 11,200 megawatts. Then once that comes up, that will become the biggest dam in India by far, 11,200 kilometers. Important thing is that one will not just be a hydroelectric dam. That will be a multi-purpose dam. It will also have the capacity to store a lot of water. That is 9.2 billion cubic meters, BCM of water. That can become a kind of strategic buffer. What does this strategic buffer mean? What it means is, if there were hostilities going on for some time, and you were worried that the Chinese will suddenly release water in this dam, that will come down and flood the Brahmaputra river and cause devastation on both sides, also destroy or at least disturb your communications and logistics, you can then use this reservoir to stop some of that water. And this reservoir can start releasing the water that it's already stored. So you have the capacity to absorb some of that water flow that suddenly comes in from the Chinese side. I'm not saying it will happen, but that possibility will always be there. Pema Khandu, the Arunachal Chief Minister, has spoken about it. He said a sudden release of water from the other side will threaten, it's an existential threat to my tribal communities, my villages, my state. He's actually used an expression, water bomb, in an interview to PTI. He said the Chinese can use it as a water bomb. I'm not saying it's likely to happen, but these are not impossibilities. So this project, if it comes up, when it comes up, Upper Siam, that is a long distance away. Even the location has not been identified yet. NHPC teams which had gone to survey the area with their machines, they went to one bank of the river and they thought they will use boats to take their equipment to the other side. Tribal villagers got very angry. The Adi tribe lives there. They came and there was some violence there and this machinery was burnt. Very sensibly, the police did not use any force and the NHP teams came back. Now this will affect 50 plus villages, of which about 15 will have to be relocated. So far, the government's got permission from 3 villages to be relocated. This will be a painstaking process which will go on because this is India, this is not China. You can't forcibly go and do something. You will have to get consent of the project affected people. That's the reason many of these projects have been delayed. They've taken so long, and that's the reason you celebrate the ones that get done, which is what we are talking about now, the Subansiri Lower Project. Now, what is the Subansiri Dam like? Subansiri Dam is 125 meters high, concrete-filled gravity dam. It got its techno-economic clearance in 2003 in the Vajpayee era. Under Manmohan Singh, work started in 2008, and then it was a stop-start kind of situation. 2011, as we told you, December, it came to a complete standstill. Now, there was also a period when Jairam Ramesh was the environment minister, and he was sent by Manmohan Singh government to the northeast to reason with local communities and to figure out how to build public opinion to let these dam projects go on. Because Manmohan Singh had just travelled in Arunachal Pradesh and he had lifted the old mental block that the establishment in New Delhi had, or that the Indian security establishment had, about developing infrastructure in Arunachal Pradesh. That was an old defeatist, or I would say overly defensive mindset, that if you're not fully confident of being able to defend Arunachal Pradesh, why do you build all this infrastructure there, particularly highways, etc., which tomorrow an invader could use? Make the elements in the Himalayas an instrument of your defense. That is something that Dr. Manmohan Singh changed. I wrote a national interest about that, which got me a fair bit of criticism from some quarters, particularly environmentalists, and frankly, those on the liberal side of the political spectrum, ideological spectrum, who had by that time turned on Dr. Manmohan Singh because they thought that he was signing the nuclear deal with the Americans and thereby changing India's strategic positioning. It was in that bold phase that these dam projects were started. Remember, however, 2010, Anna movement, Medha Patkar got involved with it. There was Akhil Gogoi in Assam who was an activist. These were all quote-unquote environmental activists, and opposition to these dams built up. And in fact, when Jairam Ramesh came from the northeast, he wrote a letter to Dr. Manmohan Singh, which the Hindu broke, that's the story the Hindu broke, in which he said that the public opinion that he saw suggested to him that if this was done forcibly, if these dams were built, if these dams were just railroaded, right, unmindful of public opinion, local opinion, then people might turn hostile. They were Chinese on the other side, and this was not a risk worth taking. Subansiri Lower Project, therefore, went through all of this trial by fire. I told you 2011 December it stopped. 2015, protesters went to National Green Tribunal, where proceedings went on till 2019. Various technical review committees were set up. There was one set up in 2012, whose report came out in 2013. Then one more dam design review panel was set up in 2014. Project Oversight Committee was set up in 2016. And NGT Expert Committee was constituted in 2019, which was the point of resumption of work on the Subansiri Lower Dam project. And then 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, landslides came in, project site was affected. In earnest, work only picked up in 2024, and now we have the first unit completed, second one also coming up for trial within weeks. For better understanding, and if you need more details for this, I'm also sharing with you a report from the Ministry of Environment and Forests titled, it's a 2015 report, August 2015, titled Cumulative Impact and Carrying Capacity Study of Subansiri Basin, including downstream impacts. It's the final report of 2015. There is a lot of detail there. You can write essays based on it. This has not been an easy project to build because to start construction, you first have to divert the river. That happened in 2008, and then the work stopped. Now this construction, this dam, the diversion requires the building of or digging of tunnels. So 5 tunnels of about 4 kilometers have been dug because it's through them that the water comes down, because water must come down a slope to produce energy. So this is quite an engineering challenge and marvel at the same time. This dam, it's a run-of-the-river dam. It has no other purpose, as I told you, no irrigation, nothing. It's not even a security dam as Siang might be, a defensive dam as Siang might be. Yet this will store, because run-of-the-river dams also need to keep some water stored. So the dam keeps running when the flow is low in the river. 1,300 million cubic meters. Even this dam's reservoir will stop. So God forbid tomorrow, if there's trouble from the other side, if you have a bunch of these reservoirs which could absorb those flows, that will be a hedge for India in security terms, in strategic terms as well. This done, it also gives us an opportunity just to look at the Brahmaputra river system. See the map on your screen. The big stream in the middle, let me say the jugular, because Pakistanis like to use that expression, Sharag. The jugular is the Brahmaputra river. Everything else, you can see so many streams coming from both sides, but more from what is called the right side, simply because the river is coming like this. So as the river is coming like this, anything that's coming from this side, simpler to say right side, because some rivers are also coming from the left side. Right side, Lohit River, see, Dibang River, Siang River, all of these you will see on your map. And then you come to Subansiri. Lower Subansiri is where it's reaching the plains, but there is also an Upper Subansiri project planned of about 500 megawatts. Then you come to Kameng districts, east and west, and you have the Kameng River. These are the big tributaries of the Brahmaputra on the right. On the left, you have Noa Dihing and couple of other smaller streams coming in from Barak Valley side. That's where even the planned projects get into border trouble. Between Assam and Meghalaya, there is a Mizoram complexity. There is also a Manipur complexity. Those are the rivers coming in from the left. Those are much smaller rivers. Now, what are the projects that are being planned there right now? I will briefly tell you the projects that are being planned. You will see the full list of 14 projects that are being planned on your screens. And it will stay there. You can screenshot it. You can read it because this gives you all the detail. This gives you the name of the project, the installed capacity, the state in which it falls. It can be Arunachal, Mizoram, Assam, Meghalaya, so on and so forth. Start date and supposed end date. And don't laugh or cry when you will find that in most of these projects the start date was 1983. That was the year Assam had its big violence and center started focusing on the development of the Northeast. That was the year of the Nelly massacre, 83. So you will see start date is 83 and targeted end date was 2000, 2003. On most of these projects, construction is not even started yet, but that is the degree of difficulty. So what I will do is, I will not read out all of the 14 for you. That will be TMI, too much information. I will tell you about the major ones. Subansiri Lower, that is the main story today, 2000 megawatts. 4 units of 250 megawatts each will start operations by December and 4 more units by May 2026. That is 8 months from now. Then Dibang Multipurpose Project, 2080 megawatts. Work has started. Completion deadline is 2031-32. See on your map where Dibang is. Dibang River is or Dibang Valley is. Then Upper Subansiri. Lower Subansiri is now being completed. That's the one that's having its wet commissioning. Upstream on the same river, there is a 1650 megawatt project in the works. There, Arunachal government has signed a memorandum of agreement with NHPC, and this is in the process of getting regulatory clearances. Then Kamla Hydropower Project. This is in the Kamle region. Kamla Hydropower Project of 1800 megawatts. Kamle is the name of the district. River is Kamla, and this is a tributary of Subansiri. Their work has already started. Then you go to the big one. That's the Siang Multipurpose Project, 11,200 megawatts. That is where dam location is yet to be identified. So 2 or 3 villages are being considered, but that's where a long process of negotiations to the satisfaction of the local communities will have to take place before any work can start, because that will be the daddy or mummy or grandmummy or granddaddy of all the dams in India, all the hydroelectric dams in India. Further, there are some smaller dams. Tato 1 hydropower project, 186 megawatts, cabinet approved in 2024, and Hio hydropower project, 2040 megawatt, that also cabinet approved in 2024. All of this looks like a lot, and you look at these rivers. These are difficult rivers. These are fast-flowing rivers. Fast-flowing rivers with sharp gradient also have more power potential, but then geography, geology, both become your challenges. And in this case, the strategic location is also a challenge. It's a challenge as well as an opportunity. If you keep all that at the back of your mind, then you think of the Subansiri Lower project. That is the one whose wet commissioning we are celebrating today. This will be 2000 megawatts. I told you this will be the largest single hydropower project in the country. In comparison, what is Bhakra Nangal? Bhakra Nangal is one of the most storied projects in India. It is just about, in fact, a little less than 1300 megawatts. Tehri, I told you, the main dam is 1000 megawatts, then 1000 elsewhere, and 400 somewhere else. So this will be by far the biggest dam in India. For this to be built in Arunachal successfully, despite so many challenges, for which everybody involved in making it a reality deserves the nation's gratitude and praise.